Hello, Tobias. Welcome back. Long time no talk. You're actually a well-known guest and a very popular guest, actually, on the channel. And this is your first appearance on the Perfinex podcast. For people that don't know you or FiveRocks yet, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Axel, for the invitation again. And I'm glad to hear that some people know my face, actually. And it's always I'm always very happy to be here, especially if you bring up something new, especially with the podcast right now. So I'm glad to be here. Yes, about FiveRocks, we are a real estate developer from the heart of Munich. We are sitting in Munich, but our projects are located in several areas in Germany, especially in North Rhine-Westphalia. So we have one project close to Düsseldorf and one project in Mönchengladbach. And also in the south, we're currently developing two projects in the south of Germany. So one is close to the Lake of Constance and one is close to Munich. It's also actually in the S-Bahn, like we call it, so the subway line here in Munich. So it's very good connected to the heart of Munich. And we are there developing at the Lake of Constance. We have a development which is especially for students, so student housing with over 100 apartments. And here in the Munich area, we are currently in the process of developing a elderly living offer. So it's a mix between some commercial, a little bit of commercial, and the rest is elderly living, but it's basically linked to each other. So it will be a serviced apartment for elderly people.
Nice.
So we are very looking forward to it.
Okay. The projects that you mentioned in Mönchengladbach and Willich, the ones close to Düsseldorf, is actually what we worked on already, where we made videos. And these videos are among the very popular real estate videos that got people very excited about real estate. And I feel, especially right now, viewers and clients alike are more interested in real estate than ever before. But they're also very cautious because of possible short-term events, especially property prices going up or down and mortgage rates going in circles, which we'll talk about later on. But you're the real estate expert here because this is your full-time job. So what's your impression of the German real estate market currently?
Of course, you can't deny that interest rates have a high impact on the real estate markets. It's, of course, as we have a very capital-intensive business where we need, of course, a lot of capital to build projects. Therefore, the interest rates have a huge impact. So in this case, with the rising interest rates, we feel that the market is or has slowed down tremendously. So that, of course, on the one side, purchases are not made regularly or like on a monthly basis, I would say. So the transaction volume has decreased. And on the other side, the buyers, when we talk about also private clients, the buyers are very cautious. And I don't think necessarily because of the interest rates, but they perhaps want to see if the developers continue their work, if they go insolvent or not. So there are, of course, risks where they, and today's clients are smart. They're very smart. So, of course, in this case, they check of the process of the construction. Is the material delivered on time? Is the construction going on well? Are there other clients buying the apartments, or is it just me who is interested? So it's, of course, people are nervous and they want to see. And we have this project here close to Düsseldorf, and we feel it that with every new step on the construction, so every floor which has been built, or now the roof is finished, the fence, the ceiling is the windows here, Fenster. Back to German.
I got the invoice. This is the one in Willich, right, where we bought together with the community.
Correct. Yeah, correct.
I just got the invoice for the windows. That's why I remember.
Correct. Yeah, we have, of course, we have the steps where we send out the invoices, and in this case the windows. So it's the next step. So people see that it's moving, and we have We have a bank financing which is secured, of course. So this is also for the buyers can be a protection that there is not the money running out. Of course, it could be if we have too higher prices for the materials and for the works. But right now, as there is a decrease of the construction environment in general in Germany, example with Vonovia, who completely stopped new constructions, and so that also means that the construction companies need to acquire now new clients. So in this case, we have a stable and a decreasing cost structure in Willich in this case, so which is also a security for the buyers. But generally saying, yes, the rising interest rates and also the media itself, which published negative articles about the real estate market and the dangers and whatever.
Clickbait headlines.
It's of course not a good mix, and therefore people are, which I understand, people are just a little bit worried and maybe not very active.
Before we talk about the mortgage rates, you mentioned the inflation and property, material and prices increasing. This started already a long time ago, right? Inflation started 2020, 2021, and then it, of course, got worse when Russia invaded Ukraine, which is like February 2022, right? So it's also more than a year ago, 1.5 years ago. Do you feel, because this is not new, right? This is all old news, at least a year, 2 years old. If a property developer like yourself, let's say, survived this sharp increase, then you're actually doing fine now. And the ones that went into insolvency, they just didn't make it over the first 3 months or 6 months?
Yeah, I think the advantage is what we have is that we started our business in 2019, 2020. So there we started to acquire projects and we had a close look on the projects, where it's located, and we did good calculations, and we did not buy anything or any property which was offered to us because we just said, okay, the interest rates are so low, people just buy, so we need to gain as many projects as possible to make a lot of money. That was not the case. And in this case, I think this is our huge advantage, that we are not overloaded with projects. And this is the problem what other developers have. They just bought projects because they thought, okay, the market is always going up. And therefore, of course, they bought too higher prices. And now it's not profitable anymore. And they don't do buildings or like construction on the property. Or if they do construction, they make just a loss. Of course, we have also cases right now where companies got insolvent, and this is we kind of know some of the companies, and we know the structures. So this is not a big surprise. They just had too many projects.
Mm-hmm. They were betting on high property prices and low interest rates forever.
Correct.
Same mistake as companies did 2008, 2007.
Yeah. Unfortunately, yes. I mean, this is, we say, maybe it's not, of course, it's a hard time right now for any real estate company. I say any because if you have a lot of cash, you also have to check what to do with a lot of cash. If you don't have cash and you just have projects or whatever, you also have to calculate with a very good calculator. So we all have like the turbulences right now, and we all have to do good jobs to survive this. And therefore, maybe it's good that it happened, because now we start to think again about real estate. So it's not the interest rate which pushed the market. Now we have to check, okay, where's the location? What is the concept? Who do we address? How are the floors, like the apartment, how do we build them up? Is it 2 or 3 apartment rooms, or do we have maybe the bathrooms with a window again, or is it? So these are questions. They come from the clients now more often, because they know, okay, now they have the time to check it again.
Mm-hmm.
A few years ago, they don't have the time to check it, because there was the other buyer waiting on the door to say, okay, I just buy it like it is. So now we have to to do construction or to do development again, and this is actually our job as a real estate developer. So there are opportunities out there, and we have to find them. We have to calculate very good in this case, and we have to do developments.
Okay. Before we started the recording, we were looking at different charts, right, about the German real estate market, and then we talked about the for the viewers on YouTube, we'll show it on screen, and for the podcast listeners, we'll link it in the description. We talked about the property prices, how they've been doing basically, and we found the Europace house price index, which was very surprising to you too, if I interpreted your reaction earlier correctly, because for the last half a year, let's say, or since mid-2021 kind of, we have like a little bit, the prices are going down a little bit, but not crashing or bubble bursting as everyone suspected. And basically since the beginning of 2022, so for half a year now, it's been completely flat. So there was like a 10% drop maybe, but now it's completely flat. And what is very beneficial for you, actually the newly built, which is a completely separate category in the chart, is actually on an all-time high.
Yeah, I mean, this actually was kind of surprising also, because in this case, again, media was talking about crashing of prices, and also like platforms like ImmoScout or whatever, they said, yeah, we feel a decrease of several percent of the prices. But you actually don't really know how do they do their calculation, which are like the numbers they base their statistics on. You can't really find out. And of course, if you have very high prices on very optimistic prices and you have to reduce them to realistic prices, of course there is a drop. And if you do a calculation on this basis and put it on the whole entire market, it's not the real. They are not the real numbers in my opinion. So if you do good calculations with serious prices, then I don't see a big drop in this case in a new construction where we are working on. We don't see a big decrease.
That's exactly the feedback.
And not a crash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is exactly the feedback that we get from clients too, that they say that on these popular real estate websites where private sellers were just publishing moon prices, basically, that they continue to go down and down. But if they actually buy from a company or from a property developer, that the prices haven't moved one single bit. It's only the private people that continue to go down and down.
Maybe as a Munich-based company, we all know the Oktoberfest, and in this 2 weeks of period, you have beer prices which are behind the moon somewhere. So basically you can say after this 2 weeks or 3 weeks, the beer prices in Munich dropped. Of course they dropped. Yeah, but the consume decreased after these 2 weeks, and these moon prices are not regular. That's just an exception of 2 weeks in this month.
Like
so
everything, beer prices, hotel prices.
Correct. Correct, hotel prices, etc. So it's, of course, maybe a different example or from the other segment, but I think it's very easy to understand it in this way.
The second big factor, aside from the property prices, are of course mortgage rates. And here it's getting even more bipartisan, I feel, than with the property prices, because there's 50% of people that think it's gonna skyrocket, and we've seen only the beginning, right? Where we get 6%, 8%. Some people feel we'll see 9% very, very shortly. And the other 50% wanna buy properties, but they continue waiting because they think interest rates are going to go down back to 0 or 1% again. Over the last 2 weeks, we've seen a super small decline. So last week, we actually had the last financing for 3.6 for almost 100% financing, which is currently really, really good. But again, in the Europace chart, and we'll show it on screen or link it in the description, we've seen earlier, mortgage rates haven't moved a single bit over the last half a year, so waiting wasn't the greatest of options.
Yeah, again, this was also very interesting to me, because what we also hear from different parties from the market, especially from financiers or banks, um, sometimes I feel it's just a way of selling again. So they say, okay, the mortgage rates go up, you have to be quick now. So, but is this really the case? Like in this chart you showed me, it's not the case. Actually, it's maybe just a point of selling, because they, as a bank, also needs to make a profit, and they need to reach their goals. So maybe this is one case. But yeah, it's very interesting that it's very stable, actually. And I mean, I also bought privately an apartment from this project in Willich, for the private, from a private asset company, I would say. And of course, therefore, I'm also checking the interest rates, and they are stable. Yeah.
This is what I really like about working together with you, because if you're developing something and you're buying it for the same property, then I think that's a really good sign, because you're not developing something and then running away as fast as you can, which would be a really bad sign. But I mean, nobody knows the property as good as you guys do. And if you and Michael together, you both bought in the property, I mean, that's the best sign ever. That's what else would I need as a buyer that gives me more comfort in this?
Of course, yeah. I mean, we know the location, we know the project, we build it by ourselves, of course, with the companies, the construction companies, but we are managing the whole process, and we are very detailed into the process. And yeah, I mean, it's for us, we are 100% sure that this project in Willich, for example, is a very good investment also for us privately. Yes, the mortgage rates went up to 4% now or something, from coming 1.5 a few years ago, or maybe 2%. So in this case, it also means that we are not cash flow positive in renting it out. We have to
Me
put
neither.
money in. Yeah, but it's still a very good tax optimization form with the real estate, or in this renting it out. And what you also, you have to compare it, for example, with the MSCI World plan, where you invest maybe €200 a month or whatever. So if you compare it to real estate, you also have to invest monthly, on a monthly basis. Yes, you have risks, but you also have risk at the MSCI World. But at the end, after 20 or 30 years, I would take the bet that in total, I have a decreasing of the money I have to invest to have the same amount at the end. So for example, I start with €200 I'm paying monthly for my mortgage, and we have increasing rents. So of course it means that my monthly payment of €200 goes down to maybe 150, and over 30 years the chances are high that I have to pay zero after 30 years. And for MSCI World or whatever, it's just in comparison. I don't want to say MSCI World or other funds are bad, but it's just how you look on your investment. And of course, you have to make a portfolio of several points and several assets. But it's very interesting if you do the calculation and you compare it. And in this case, these are all important factors for us as a developers, also to keep assets for ourselves, because we are 100% sure that building a fortune with real estate is still a good chance and a good idea, and it's successful after 30 years, definitely.
Yeah, I completely agree. And for us investors, I feel that it may be different for homeowners, which feel the entire interest rate. But for us investors
Correct.
that have tax deductible interest rate, then if we have 4% pre-tax, then we have 2% after tax, and there's all these other tax benefits like the increased depreciation that we will get
Yes,
with properties
3%.
after 2024. So even if you have a €200 monthly negative cash flow, which is pre-tax, on an after-tax basis, you're probably having zero or even a small plus.
Correct, yeah. Of course, this calculation after taxes, and one should definitely talk to a tax advisor to have it very certain. I think, yeah, it was last week. I had a client sitting here. I helped him to gain an apartment, I think it was 4 years ago. And he said, yeah, it was very good because last time I had a meeting with my tax advisor, said you saved 10,000 euro in taxes because of this real estate or this apartment you bought a few years ago. It was a very good decision. So and he was sitting here in the office and we talked about this, and he said, yeah, he was very happy that he did it actually, and now he sees it in his account or in his tax balance that it's a benefit. Otherwise, of course, we're talking right now also again, yeah, this is good, you have tax benefits, blah, blah, blah. Yes, you have it because we know it, we did it, and we see it. And people should, in my opinion, should do it and start doing it, because then you see that it's not blah, blah, blah. It's actually by law. It's a tax law, and therefore, how much security can you get?
Yeah, it's real. It's one of the only investments beside pensions where you actually can get tax benefits. Yeah.
Correct, by law again, and
yeah.
we are both German, and so we know how big the count is if you say it's by law. It's for us, it's magical.
Yeah. The other project aside from Willich, where I am invested and the community is invested, is the one in Mönchengladbach, which was actually the starting investment of GermanReal.Estate, where we started a little over almost a year ago. We started. How was we talked about it, I think, once in between, but like the last half a year or something like this since the start of the investment. How is the project?
Yeah, I think this project is one very good example of German bureaucracy and how things are in some cases are artificially slowed down, and like the process is somehow delayed due to bureaucracy and laws, etc. Basically, we bought this property in Mönchengladbach and the property in Willich approximately to the same time, a few months, 3-4 months in between as a gap, but it's not a big deal. And we handed in the construction permit approximately the same time from almost the same planners also. So architect in Willich helped with the project in Mönchengladbach and put in some ideas and architecture stuff. And in Willich, we finished the ceiling of construction right now, and we put in the windows. In Mönchengladbach, we just received the construction permit 2 months ago. So you see the big time difference of two cities which are 30 minutes away from each other, but it's just one city has other regulatory stuff to fulfill than the other, in our opinion, and they came up with questions, and we had to change a lot, etc., etc. So it was very interesting. Of course, now we received the construction permit, which is a very good sign. So the property increased by price because we have a construction permit now, so we can sell it to someone who wants to buy it, and he can start construction immediately, or we do it by ourselves, that we do the construction and sell it after. But right now, what we are doing is, as we have the construction permit, we are now in the sales process. We try to sell the property with the construction permit to a buyer. So we have several options now, and we started the process of selling 6 weeks ago. Yeah, so we have 2 interested buyers right now, which is in the current situation in the market, I think decent. It's not euphoric or very good, but it's a good first sign. So this is what we're trying to do right now.
Okay, and that's why, and this is the news that we can drop here then in this episode, you decided to prolong the security because it is running out. On the minimum term was end of this July, so just in a couple of weeks. And the maximum term is end of this year, and that's why, in order to make the right decision to either construct yourself or to sell it to the right investor at the right price, and not to the first the first buyer, you decided to prolong the investment for now.
Correct. Yeah, this is the correct answer in this situation right now. As we gained the construction permit, delayed, and we didn't expect it to take that long. But now we have it, so now we can take the right decision. Yeah.
Okay, well, great.
Also in the favor, of course, of the investors, which of course their interest is to get the highest share as possible.
Yeah, well, great. That makes me very happy too that we have this prolongation options.
Correct, yeah.
Shows me that even though we're very young and our financial product securities are also very young, that we made at least one right decision.
Yeah, I mean, we had it also in the past, not specifically with prolongation, but as it can always happen that processes take longer than expected, especially if you're dependent on communities or cities which give you the permit or not. So in this case, it's very, very hard in nowadays to find a very specific date to do an event. In this case, a prolongation, was very good, yeah.
All right.
Also for investors and us,
Yeah.
especially.
So next step would be for Willich that I think we already made the appointment that Tobias, when he's at the construction site, we will shoot another video.
Michael.
Exactly.
Michael. Yeah.
Michael, yeah. And then he will be in the flat that we bought, so people can actually see it, not finished, but for the very first time. And for Mönchengladbach, we'll update investors as soon as you know which route to take.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. So this, as soon as we get next, specific steps and we know which direction we take, of course we let you know, and then we can make another video, for example, and to give the information to the investors. Yeah.
Cool. Well, then, thank you very much for coming onto the channel again and for enlightening us with like real insights into the German real estate market and not just some clickbaity headlines. We talked about it. How can people learn more about FiveRocks, find you, and connect with you?
Yeah, of course, we discussed this from in the beginning that we might have to develop some new ideas together, which would be good for the community. But from right now perspective on, you can easily follow us in the social media like LinkedIn, Instagram. We're active. We're trying to give more insights to the people in these channels. Also TikTok, we have some videos on there, also with you, of course. But we're trying to be there more active, to give people more insights. And monthly you get a newsletter if you sign in on our website, which is www.FiveRocks.eu. You find a sign-in formula where you can apply for the newsletter. And of course there we give on a monthly basis an insight of all of our projects. And I think these channels are the best ways to follow us. And if investors are from Munich, just say hi and ask for an appointment, and we can meet for an espresso in our office and talk about real estate. We would be happy.
And maybe even soon at a construction site. We'll see what we talked about earlier. Maybe if it comes to fruition, maybe we'll see all of us and investors together soon on a Munich construction site.
Yeah, would be great. Also there for the Munich area project, we received some good news this week from the beginning of this week. So we have a clear plan now, and hopefully we can do a big party at the site.
All right, we'll keep you updated. Thank you for coming on to the channel, Tobias, and have a good day, everyone.